Hi students. I'm going to go ahead and read you all of the questions that you might be asked tomorrow. Now the responses are on the right hand side, so I'm not going to read you the responses. I want you to practice responding to these questions. I also want you to practice maybe replacing some of the words. So like for example, the second question, ¿sacas malas notas? I might ask, yes, do you get good grades? And you might respond, yes, I get good grades, or no, I don't get good grades. But you might say, I get good grades sometimes, or I get bad grades sometimes. Or I might ask you a similar formed question, but with a different verb. So I might say, ¿Tomas apuntes? Do you take notes? So although these are the questions that I have listed on here, the questions could be a varied version of that same type of question. So a yes or no question, but maybe a different verb. Or I might ask you how often you watch TV, or how often you talk on the phone, or how often you study. So you would respond in a very similar fashion for each of those questions because they are basically the same, but make sure that you do know how to use those different verbs and you're not just memorizing what I have on here. So let's get started. The first question, what time is it? ¿Qué hora es? Do you get bad grades? ¿Sacas malas notas? This is a yes or no question, and we know because it starts with a verb. ¿En qué clase tienes que dibujar? In what class do you have to draw? Don't forget that that uses tener que and not just tener, so you need to include that que in your response as well. ¿Con qué frecuencia hablas por teléfono? So how often do you talk on the phone? ¿Qué tienes que hacer en la clase de español? What do you have to do in Spanish class? Again, this is a tener que question. You need to have that que in there as well. Same with the next three questions. ¿Tienes que leer en la clase de historia? Starts with a verb. It's a yes or no question. ¿Tienes que tomar apuntes en las clases? Do you have to take notes in your classes? ¿Tienen que estudiar los estudiantes en la clase de arte? Do the students have to study in art class? So again, those last three questions, those are all yes or no questions, and we know that because they start with a verb. Next question, ¿con qué frecuencia estudias? How often do you study? ¿Siempre sacas malas notas? Do you always get bad grades? Yes or no question again. So is the next question. ¿Montas en bicicleta mucho? Do you ride your bike a lot? And ¿a qué hora tienes la clase de inglés? At what time do you have English class? Again, your answers are on the right-hand side, so these are just possible responses. So I don't expect all of you to say, I study every day in response to how often do you study, so you can switch that up a little bit to apply to you. All right, our next set of questions. ¿A qué hora necesitas llegar a la escuela? At what time do you need to arrive to school? Now notice we have two verbs in a row here, necesitas and llegar. If you remember, we can't have two conjugated verbs in a row. We can only have one. So our second verb is going to remain infinitive. It's in the infinitive and it's in the question, and you're going to also do the same in your response. ¿Con qué frecuencia usas la computadora? How often do you use the computer? ¿Qué clases tienes? What classes do you have? So on your speaking test, I don't expect you to list me all 5 of your classes, but just list a couple, maybe 1, 2, possibly 3. ¿A qué hora tienes la clase de matemáticas? At what time do you have math class? ¿Tienes que tomar apuntes en la clase de ciencias? Do you have to take notes in science class? Again, this is a yes or no question. It starts with a verb, so we know that. ¿A qué hora tienes la clase de historia? At what time do you have history class? ¿Usas la computadora mucho en la clase de matemáticas? Starts with a verb, so it is a yes or no question. This applies to the next 3 questions as well because they all start with verbs. ¿Estudias todos los días? Do you study every day? ¿Hablas mucho con la maestra de español? Do you talk a lot with your Spanish teacher? ¿Tienes que trabajar los sábados? Do you have to work on Saturdays? So again, those last 4 I just read, those are all yes or no questions. They all start with verbs. And now these last 3 are a little bit different. The first one and the third one are about the same, and then the middle one is a little bit different. So let me talk you through those. ¿En qué clase tienes que hablar español? And the last one, ¿en qué clase tienes que leer libros? So instead of asking you, do you have to do this in a certain class, it's asking, in what class do you have to? So in what class do you have to speak Spanish? And in what class do you have to read books? And then the question right in the middle of those, ¿Es la clase de español fácil o difícil? So this does start with a verb. Es is a verb that we learned a while back. It comes from the verb ser. And this question means, is Spanish class easy or hard? So that o means or. So you're not going to say fácil o difícil. You're going to say one or the other. For example, la clase de español es difícil. I hope this is helpful for you. Please let me know if you have any questions. Last thing is, on your speaking test tomorrow, you're going to be asked 3 questions. 2 of them are going to be one of the questions that I read to you from this page. So this is definitely a very good study tool for you. And then 1 question is going to be based on that set of 4 images that I showed you in class.